What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, and as you can see, it is all about classic bodybuilding. And the Mr. Olympia happened 2017, but I wasn't that excited about the open class. No, I was more excited about this very class, the classic Physique. Guys, this has turned out to be an amazing class, honestly. When it first started in 2016, I thought the weight limits are too small, the guys cannot be heavy enough, and of course it was logical because when you're too heavy, you might get the blocky stomachs again. But once the judges saw the potential of the people in this class, they upped the weight class a little bit, so the crop of people you see before you right now was able to rise up. And this is just amazing, you guys. Look at these physiques. This is classic bodybuilding. I personally have been waiting for this for so long. I'm always referring back to Arnold, the golden era, classic bodybuilding of the 70s and 80s, but when looking at this, it has returned. Every single one of these physiques you see right here looks good. It's aesthetically pleasing. Some more than others, but they're all good. This is what classic bodybuilding is all about. And right here, this is the winner, Brian. And as you can see, every single body part just flows well. He is aesthetically built. It's a statue. Everything just fits. And a lot of guys were of the opinion that Chris Bumstead should have won, which we'll talk about a little later. But I think that the main reason that Brian won is because he's the complete package. So he was very conditioned, he had no lagging body parts at all, a very good back, but also when compared to Chris, his biceps were way better and bigger. But isn't that a weird thing to lose by having smaller biceps or different biceps? Well, that just says so much about this class, that the differences can be that small to get you over the edge. In the open class at the Mr. Olympia, where Phil Heath and Big Ramy and William Bonac, Rudy Winkler and stuff, all those guys, you pretty much win if you're the biggest and most conditioned guy at the same time. And that was Phil Heath this year. He had the most 3D muscle, the most complete package, but as you guys saw, there was a major flaw in almost all of the big guys on that stage, and that is the gut wasn't as appealing as this one. Look, this is a relaxed pose of Brian, and it looks good. No gut sticking out. He is not focusing on contracting the abs right now, as you can see, but he is focused on keeping his physique looking good. And even when you are thinking the same, when you're a big bodybuilder in the open class, they simply cannot keep their stomach in because of weird reasons that I don't even know. A combination of a lot of things, probably even more complicated than we think. But the bottom line is that these guys don't have to do as much weird stuff, if you know what I mean, to get to this level. It is pretty much more natural to look at. And this is a kind of physique you want to see, guys. Look at this, a vacuum, good legs, symmetry, just good posing. And here, Arash. I can't pronounce his last name, honestly, but Arash Rockbar, I think. Just an awesome physique as well, all hitting classic poses. Look at this. He can hit a vacuum, very nice. Proportions, symmetry, everything conditioned. These guys were way more conditioned than the guys in the open class, in my opinion. When you're holding on to that much more muscle, you would almost instinctively say that it's much easier to get down to a lower body fat percentage, because there's so much more muscle pressing against the skin, so much more muscle burning energy. So if this guy Arash was sitting down and Big Ramy was sitting down next to him, in an hour probably Arash wouldn't even burn half of the calories as Big Ramy would. So that's just one of the things that I find weird about the open class. It's just a runaway experiment, in my opinion. And this is Chris Bumstead, just an amazing specimen of a human, of a bodybuilder. In my opinion, he had the most classic, unique physique on stage. He is tall, which is a very good advantage. He can hit the vacuum, pretty much the best of everyone on that stage, and his back really pops out. His waist is very narrow, making his back appear really wide. But as you can see, the only flaw, right? The only flaw in his body is maybe the biceps a little bit, but that's all. The rest of his body is just spectacularly amazing. Look at this pose, a classic pose that I haven't seen in decades performed right. This is actually one of my favorite poses as well, because Arnold used to do it, and I simply tried it out. As you can see right here, this is from 3 years ago, my second ever competition, and it's just one of my own favorite poses. Now, this is in no way a comparison to Chris Bumstead, but it's just showing you guys that I have been interested, and it's my passion to show you guys what classic bodybuilding is all about. So this was me way before even starting this channel, because it's in my blood to show classic bodybuilding, guys. That is what I want to show you with this. And here another classic pose, always hitting the vacuum. This is also kind of an Arnold pose, but he hits it differently because his legs are positioned differently. Right here I'm hitting something like that as well. So as you can see, it has always been my own passion to convey the message of an aesthetic, pleasing body with as small as possible waist, especially from the side, hitting the vacuum, but with a good proportioned body. And of course I was a lot smaller back then than I am now, and that is one of my concerns, is that I hope I can make the weight for a regular classic physique class, because I really don't want to sacrifice muscle on my tall frame, because I'm pretty tall, and if I have to sacrifice muscle, then it wouldn't be good for my physique. And look at this, Rough Diesel, another amazing bodybuilder, hitting some groundbreaking ground poses. And this is also an art that you don't see performed by the big fauna bodybuilders anymore. Here I'm hitting, this was actually from last year, another ground pose. I wasn't really fond of ground poses at first, and that's because they are hard to master, hard to do. You really gotta keep your body in balance and look aesthetic at the same time. It's more difficult than you think, which is why all those bodybuilders beyond classic physique don't like to do it. Look, this is the lineup we want to see. Not this. Just compare the two just one more time. Look at this, a V taper going down into a narrow, tight waist, and then the legs are going outwards again, creating an X frame, guys, an X frame. This is a circle or a bottle. I don't know. Of course, I realize that this shot has been taken at a random moment, but in my opinion, that is no excuse at all. Arnold used to say that you cannot allow yourself to show 1 single second of weakness on stage. You are on stage, guys. People can see you, people can take pictures, can record you, and that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly why we saw this. Tell me, why don't we see any of those waists here at any moment during any picture taken? But we do see them here. And that's the difference between those two classes. They are becoming too big, and in my opinion, this is bodybuilding, and this is simply, you know, building what? I don't know, but bodybuilding was supposed to be an art form. Look at this, just looking like a statue. This is not something you would sculpt out of your free will. The stomach is a side effect of all the muscles being created. This, guys, is the lineup we want to see, that I want to see. Conditioning is on point. Proportions are on point. You cannot, you got to really look for a longer time to see which one of these guys is the best. Every time you look at one of, it doesn't matter which physique, Every time you look at one of those physiques, you see, wow, look at those legs, wow, look at that back, look at those abs, look at that vacuum. Every single physique has a strong point and almost no flaws, no weaknesses, at least no glaring ones like a gut. So this is what we want to see, guys. When you hit a front double bicep, it goes in a V-taper down. You create an X frame, the X at the middle being the waist, being the smallest part of the X. That is what we want. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share you my opinion and my passion and enthusiasm for this class of the Mr. Olympia. This is indeed the redemption of bodybuilding. I have a feeling that within 2 or 3 years, maybe even sooner, this class will take over the entirety of the popularity of bodybuilding. This will become again what bodybuilding is about, and those big bodybuilders, they will simply get extinct like the dinosaurs did before them. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to stay golden.